This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
It's Wednesday, August 6, 2025, and here are today's stories. What happens when childhood is stolen by war? Around the world, thousands of children are being forced into battle, ripped from their families and turned into soldiers. We look at why this continues to happen and what's being done to stop it. A breathtaking statue in Fuerteventura honors our bond with nature. Field Messenger Emma reveals the heartfelt symbolism behind the Mother Earth sculpture. From historic universities to stunning green spaces, Field Messenger Monica takes us on a journey through Romania's Garden City, where culture, nature, and knowledge bloom together. A new executive order from President Trump is making waves in the trucking industry, requiring all commercial drivers to be fluent in English. Advocates say it's about safety, critics say it's discrimination. Animal welfare laws are getting a major upgrade in Australia, with tougher penalties and stricter guidelines for pet owners. But will it be enough to truly protect the animals we love? Hungry for something bold and comforting? Field Messenger Rick spices things up with a simple, soulful recipe for stuffed poblano chili that brings tradition right to your table.
Child soldiers are a heartbreaking reality in many parts of the world, where kids are forced to fight in conflicts they barely understand. It's hard to imagine children being robbed of their innocence and thrust into violence instead of enjoying their youth. This raises so many questions. Why does this happen? And what can be done to protect them from such devastating experiences?
This isn't a new problem. Children have been used in wars for centuries, even though they were of little use in combat roles. However, with the invention of lighter weapons, like the Kalashnikov and M16, it became easier to arm kids, and sadly, the problem only grew. During the Cold War, conflicts like the El Salvador Civil War saw children forcibly recruited by both sides, often treated horribly. Many were forced into combat, made to commit acts of violence, and even prove their loyalty by hurting their own families. The issue escalated in the African civil wars of the 1990s, where kids were exploited by militias, gangs, and warlords. Many were kidnapped, drugged, and forced to commit awful acts, including during Rwanda's 1994 genocide.
Maybe the most chilling example of the exploitation was seen in the Iran-Iraq War during the 1980s. Iran deployed thousands of child soldiers in human wave attacks against Iraqi positions. These kids, sometimes as young as 9 years old, were given plastic keys to paradise around their necks and sent running through minefields, literally stepping over the bodies of their fallen friends. Iranian commanders viewed their deaths as necessary sacrifices, cheap and abundant ammunition in a holy war. Iranian prisoners later said that up to 90% of these kids, they never made it back alive. They weren't just casualties, they were part of a deliberate strategy to overwhelm enemy forces and hope that adult soldiers would hesitate before shooting kids. Another advantage? Children give commanders unquestioning obedience, malleability, readiness to kill without hesitation. But they weren't born that way. They were created.
There are laws meant to protect children from being recruited into conflicts. International human rights law sets the minimum age for recruitment at 18, and using kids under 15 as soldiers is considered a war crime by the International Criminal Court. But, unfortunately, these laws don't stop the problem entirely. Take Myanmar, for example. In 2012, their military agreed to stop using child soldiers under a UN agreement. But since the 2021 coup, things have only worsened. Human Rights Watch reports a rise in child recruitment, and the UN has confirmed more than 1,800 cases of children as young as 12 being forced into the military. The real number, however, is likely much higher. Innocent Apwanya was abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda when he was just 10 years old. After escaping, he rebuilt his life in Germany and now supports young people in northern Uganda through sponsorship programs. Here's what he has to say about the tactics used to indoctrinate children.
You might find this funny, but I actually ate my first marijuana when I was with them, because this is part of a remedy. They told you it heals your pain, it makes you more stronger, and it makes you more resilient to pain. So they would give you, and we grew marijuana with them there too. So drug was part of the strategy that they use and give children. I don't know if you call marijuana drug or not. That is not up to me to judge. But there was different forms. And of course, as a child, if someone come and give you sweets and all this and tells you right now I will be like your father, and this is what Joseph Kony did, I'll be like your father, I will make sure every one of you get whatever support you get when I become the president of Uganda, and you can support your families. And we are from poor families. All we want is to give a new life for our families. And if you can be the breadwinner and somebody promise you a job so big, this goes down in your mind as a child that, oh yeah, we are going to win. I'm going to change the lives of my parents. They say it is a holy war. They even promise jobs to these children. Me personally, they say, you know, when this is a holy war, we are not just fighting. Us alone is God behind us.
According to the United Nations, children can become involved with armed forces in many ways, often through kidnapping or joining to escape poverty or protect their communities. They are used not just in combat, but also as cooks, spies, messengers, or even in horrific roles like sex slaves or suicide bombers. Many face extreme violence, injuries, and lifelong trauma, with girls at higher risk of sexual violence and rejection.
This is sadly the reality we still live in. Child soldiers go through so much abuse, violence, and emotional scars that stick with them for life. Many are forced to do things they'll struggle with forever. Helping them to get back to a normal life is so important. It means reuniting them with their families, giving them education or skills training, and providing emotional support. It's not easy and takes global effort, but it's the key to giving these kids a fresh start and helping their communities work toward peace.
The Mother Earth statue in Fuerteventura, Spain, is a beautiful sculpture that symbolizes love, care, and our deep connection with nature. UNN Field Messenger Emma shares the powerful meaning behind this remarkable work of art.
Hi, my name is Emma. I'm a field messenger for United Network News, reporting from Fuerteventura, Spain in Europe. In this report, we are visiting Mother Earth on Fuerteventura. Mamando is a statue made by Lixper Reguera in 2015. It is located in a local park before you enter the town of Corralejo in Fuerteventura. The statue is very often called Mother Earth. It is meant to give visitors a warm welcome and like a welcoming embrace, like a real mother would do. Also to remind us of the importance of our relationship with Mother Earth. Mamandyo, or more precisely Mama in You or Mother in You, represents the figure of a woman sitting on the ground, barefoot and naked, with her arms extended into a cradle position, as if she was cradling an invisible baby. This position immediately evokes the image of a mother taking care and protecting her baby, a universal symbol of love and care. It is an interactive statue which anyone can get to. People can lay down in her arms and again feel the feeling of being in the arms of a mother. The sculpture is around 3 meters high and 3 meters wide and stands on a circular cement and wooden platform. It is formed internally by an iron skeleton stuffed by stone and cement and has a surface of mortar skin. The finish has been made with 2 long-lasting components of paint. So this sculpture and the artist Reguera reminds us that we are all part of nature, that we are deeply connected to it. Mother Earth is not only an abstract concept, but a tangible reality that supports us, feeds us, gives us a home. The colors of this statue is carefully selected. It tells us about the element made up of the island of Fuerteventura. It's the sea, the sand of its beaches, the fire of the earth, and of the volcanoes, the sun, and the earth. Each tones remind us of a diversity and the beauty of the natural environment. In practicality, all religious cultures and traditions, we found some equivalent of Mother Earth, described as a figure of figure of fertility, creativity, and abundance. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked the report. See you next time. Bye.
Tired before the day begins? N80 Plus levels drop 50% after 40. N80 Plus helps your cells bounce back fast. Most supplements give precursors. N80 Plus skips the breakdown, delivering direct, bioavailable power. Support your energy, metabolism, sleep, and stress levels at the cellular level. Join the N80 Plus revolution. Start your journey to a healthier you. Subscribe today.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with Nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
UNN Field Messenger Monica reports from Iași, Romania, often called the Garden City for its lush green spaces and rich history. Home to the country's oldest university and its largest botanical garden, Iași is a vibrant blend of culture, learning, and nature.
Hello, this is Monica, Field Messenger, reporting for UNN from Romania. This report is about Iași, a city also known as the Garden City, due to its abundance of flowers and green spaces. Every year, almost 2 million flowers are planted throughout the city. Located in northeastern Romania, Iași is spread over 7 hills, much like Rome. In Iași, every stone speaks of the past. Many important events in Romanian history have taken place here. Although Iași has experienced periods of decline, it has been reborn each time, and today it is a modern city. Today Iași radiates magnificence, both in its aesthetic and in its spirit, gracefully intertwining history with the present. It is the city of great ideas and home to the oldest and most important university center and the oldest and largest botanical garden in Romania. The garden covers about 100 hectares, making it one of the largest in Europe. Its uniqueness is conferred by the remarkable patrimonial value of the scientific collections and the section for the visually impaired. Established in 1991, this section features over 30 species that are distinguished by their fragrance and unique leaf characteristics. These features allowed the blind to identify the plants simply by touching them. Braille labels provide essential information about each species on display. Over 800 varieties of roses delight visitors to this garden, keeping them here for hours to enjoy this spectacle of nature. The Palace of Culture is certainly the city's most iconic building, an architectural splendor. Impressive in its combination of neo-Gothic, neoclassical and Baroque architectural styles, the majestic Palace of Culture in Iași was equipped with the most modern facilities of the time, such as electric lighting and pneumatic heating. And so, Iași is a vibrant city that exudes a festive atmosphere on every turn. This is also because the city is a significant university hub in the area. There are always cultural and artistic activities happening, so it's impossible to get bored in this wonderful city. Thank you for watching. Bye.
A new executive order from President Trump is shaking up the trucking industry. It requires all commercial drivers to be fluent in English or risk being pulled off the road. The goal, road safety. The backlash, concerns about worker shortages and discrimination. Whether you're a driver, a business owner, or just someone who depends on timely deliveries, this new rule could impact everything from highway safety to supply chains.
In April 2025, President Trump signed an executive order that revives and toughens an older rule requiring all truck drivers operating in the U.S. to be proficient in English. While the English requirement has technically been in place for years, it wasn't strictly enforced, especially after a 2015 Obama-era policy prevented officers from placing drivers out of service solely due to language barriers. That policy has now been overturned, and enforcement is ramping up significantly.
So let's talk about what the actual executive order is. The executive order was signed to actually say that truck drivers must read and speak the basics of English. And that's pretty much what it says, right? So a lot of people are concerned with, why is this actually going in place? This is a country built on immigrants. Why do people have to speak English? When you think about the common sense things, right? I've been traveling around the world, and one of the things that we are definitely spoiled as Americans is, like for instance, I was in Dubai, and the signs in Dubai, there was letters I couldn't even read. But we are spoiled because they actually have it in English as well, so it's easy for us to communicate and go. If I was in a country that I had no idea what the signs meant, it would make it very dangerous for me as an individual driving, especially a big tractor-trailer that I'm actually driving for money. So the common sense idea here is, hey, let's make sure everyone has an even playing field, that communication can actually be held when it comes to maybe with a truck driver and law enforcement, or just being able to read signs, or interacting with other truck drivers. And it kind of makes sense.
The new order, which went into effect on June 25th, frames English proficiency as a non-negotiable safety requirement, emphasizing drivers must be able to read traffic signs, communicate clearly with law enforcement, border patrol, and inspection officers, and give and receive instructions in English. This means inspectors from the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance will have the authority to place drivers out of service if they are unable to demonstrate sufficient English proficiency during a roadside inspection. Drivers will no longer be allowed to use interpreters, translation apps, or other tools to assist with communication. Everything must be conducted in English. The challenge, however, is there's currently no standardized test in place to assess a driver's language skills. Instead, the decision is left to the discretion of the individual inspectors, which has raised concerns about inconsistent enforcement across different regions. What might be acceptable in one state may not meet the threshold in another.
The sight of trucks coming and going in Otay Mesa is fairly common. Most are on their way to or from the nearby port of entry. You'll also find some rigs and their drivers at area truck stops. This is where we found Alfonso Hernandez and others talking about President Trump's executive order mandating all truck drivers in the U.S. must speak and understand basic English.
At least some English.
Hernandez supports the idea, which will force drivers to pass an English literacy test, making the roadways safer, according to the president.
All the truckers know English. Going to be better for everyone.
But not everyone agrees with Hernandez or President Trump.
The way we speak has nothing to do with our ability to handle a tractor-trailer.
Kelvin is a truck driver who works in both Mexico and the U.S. Like other truckers, Kelvin will soon have to show he can understand traffic signs, communicate with law enforcement, and navigate agricultural checkpoints and weight limit stations.
If a driver is deemed non-compliant, their truck must remain parked until another qualified driver can take over. In the meantime, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has been directed to develop clear, formal guidelines. However, until those standards are in place, enforcement will depend on the judgment of individual inspectors at the roadside. Under federal rules, there are no fines for truckers who fail English proficiency. The main penalty is being placed out of service until a qualified driver arrives. But some states have their own penalties. Arkansas imposes a $500 fine for noncompliance, and Texas and Louisiana have considered or implemented similar measures. However, monetary penalties are generally rare and depend on state laws. Australia is stepping up for animal welfare with tougher laws, higher penalties for cruelty, and a stronger focus on responsible pet ownership. These changes are all about protecting animals, preventing harm, and giving authorities the tools they need to tackle neglect. But that's not all. There's a growing conversation around what it really means to care for our pets. Take dogs, for example. They have long been bred to be loyal companions, which is why many struggle when left alone for too long. Without enough attention or activity, dogs can develop behavioral issues like barking, chewing, boredom, and even depression. In the Australian Capital Territory, a new draft code suggests dog owners should spend at least 3 hours a day with their pets to prevent loneliness. Of course, how this would actually be enforced, or whether it's even necessary, is still up for debate. For now, though, public feedback is open through August 22nd, so it's a chance to have your say.
It could soon become a legal requirement in the ACT to spend 3 hours a day with your dog, and it has dog owners a little bit confused.
It seems a silly rule, only because if you are a dog owner, you'll spend more than 3 hours a day with your dog.
We spend 1 hour at the dog area, and then, pretty much all evening at home with us.
Breaching the welfare code is a punishable offence, but it remains unclear how the 3-hour mandate could be enforced.
I don't know what kind of policing is going to be employed to carry out that, to ensure everybody does that. It sounds very interventionist.
How are you going to monitor me being with my dog 3 hours a day?
But it's a move the RSPCA supports.
Dogs are so social, and just having that moment of being in that same room with you
is definitely meeting some of those basic behavioural needs. I think a lot of pet owners spend far more than 3 hours with their pets. 3 hours is more of a guideline as a baseline in regards to how much time we should spend with our pets.
It's not just human contact hours the government wants to have a say in. Tying dogs up would be more heavily restricted, as would surgical debarking, and retractable leads could also be prohibited under the draft standards.
Do feel emotions, they do have feeling, they do process things very similar to us, and it is so crucial that we as pet owners meet not just their physical needs, but also their mental needs as well.
South Australia is taking a hard stance on animal welfare with some big reforms. New laws bring harsher penalties for cruelty and introduce a legal duty of care for pet owners. This means owners must provide essentials like food and water, and authorities can step in to stop neglect before it happens. Interestingly, fish are now included under the definition of animals, which targets harmful practices like shark finning, though regular fishing activities remain unaffected. On top of that, the reforms include mandatory reporting in the greyhound racing industry, better oversight of animal research, and an animal welfare fund to support new initiatives.
These are the sort of squalid conditions some South Australian animals have been found living in.
Currently, the penalties aren't getting the message across.
The state government is throwing the book at animal cruelty. In the first review of penalties in more than 15 years, it's giving the RSPCA more clout to stop mistreatment.
We think this is a great step forward to driving those outcomes.
If found guilty, individuals could now face fines of up to $250,000, 5 times the previous penalty, and organisations up to $1 million, an increase of $950,000.
The legislation only gets updated every so often, and that's why we've had to do a really big jump.
The government also wants to make sure anyone banned for cruelty interstate can't move to SA to set up shop.
But if you've got a business that's making a living off animals, they need to know that they need to treat those animals properly, and high penalties are going to send that message.
It's such a frustrating process to have to go through a very long, very expensive court process just to get the same outcome as in other states.
The focus on animal welfare doesn't stop with pet care. Big changes to the Family Law Act came into effect on June 10th, 2025, and they're a game changer for pets in separation or divorce cases. Pets are no longer treated as just property, like furniture or cars. Instead, they're recognized as companion animals, meaning courts can now consider emotional bonds and family dynamics when deciding who keeps them. It's a win for anyone who sees pets as more than just things. They're family.
It's official, guys. Pets are finally being recognised as family. This is a huge win for our pets. The law finally agrees that they are more than just property. From now on, courts in Australia will consider who actually cares for the pet in a breakup, not just who owns it officially. If you're the one doing the feeding, the walking, the belly rubs, that actually counts. It's all part of a new law that recognises that pets are important members of the family, not just property. It also means that pets are better protected in domestic violence situations, which is a huge win for both animal and human welfare. Finally, the law gets it.
Helping animals starts with small, simple steps, whether it's spending more time with your pet, supporting stronger animal welfare laws, or educating others about responsible ownership. Every action makes a difference. If you see cruelty, neglect, or abandonment, report it to the national peak body for the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Inspectorate in your area, either online or by phone.
Stuffed poblano chili is a delicious dish that combines tradition with creativity for a truly memorable meal. UNN Field Messenger Rick shows us just how easy it is to make this flavorful recipe at home.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Rick, and I'm a field messenger with United Network News. What you're looking at is the startings of a preparation for one of my favorite meals, and that is stuffed poblano chilies. The first step is to grill most of the vegetables. So you'll know when your poblanos are getting close to being done. They'll start to puff up like a little balloon. So I just use a big Tupperware that I can put the lid on to make it airtight. And you can see, I just toss them in there with all the rest of the vegetables. So it's been about an hour since the vegetables, poblanos, have been sweating in this Tupperware bowl. You want to remove them, and I just put them into the sink. Then I turn on some water and let it run, at a low temperature. And you can simply just run your hands right over the poblanos. And this, the skin, this thin waxy skin or thick waxy skin will just fall right off. Man, this smells so good. So it's been about 10 minutes or so. I've added salt, pepper, oregano, comino, cumin, all the Mexican spices. Before we start stuffing the poblanos, you want to just slightly oil your pan so when you put them in the oven, they don't stick to the glass. So as you can see, I just opened the poblano, I put the stuffing inside of it, then I just pull it back together and kind of shove it in, nestled with the other one. Now I'll cover them with foil and throw them in the oven when we're ready to eat them for dinner tonight. Hope you enjoyed. Reporting, Rick, Field Messenger, United Network News.
At UNN, you are the news. Get involved by joining our weekly Field Messenger meetings. Visit unitednetwork.earth to learn more. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me.